Yes, if I'm not wrong, and I hope I'm not wrong, we should be live now. So yes, okay, great. Okay, once again, welcome to the Security Break podcast. Um, this is the first time you're watching this. Hopefully, that's a good thing. This is just a little project of mine. I'm Giorgio, by the way, and this is project where I just find and invite some cool people like Marco tonight, and we collect a bunch of news of the cybersecurity realm, and we just have a chat on them. Hopefully, learning something in the process, especially and this is a good topic I think tonight. Gathering information from different backgrounds and different knowledge bases that, of course, different people have depending on their background. So, as I said, hi Marco. Marco is my guest tonight. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Giorgio, and thanks for having me here. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. And I'm first. Thanks for inviting me because I. It's not that I don't have the time, but reading articles and keeping myself up to date on what's going on is one of those things that you always put as a low priority. And so, by inviting me here, you forced me to read something, which is good. So you already made me a big favor.
That's actually a very good point, because I keep telling this in all the episodes that this is actually one of the first and main goals of the project, like forcing myself to read some news because I know I have the episode, I know I have to go live. So that alone, it's a good reason to read as many news as possible, so I can select and find the most interesting ones. Otherwise, I would definitely not do that, or at least not as much as I'm doing right now. And the other thing is just having the conversation with the uh, just interesting people. And when I actually invited you, I think you had some like reservations because you're not really into the cybersecurity field.
I mean,
Um,
I
yeah,
have done
yeah,
work in the
exactly.
cybersecurity at Google, and I mean, by the way, not many people knows, but
Yeah, right.
I have a master degree in computer science, and my main major was cybersecurity. So I would say I know a little bit about it,
Okay.
but I'm not actively working or in the cybersecurity space, or I'm not very
Mhm.
active from a technical point of view. That was my concern,
Yeah.
uh, or my worry, I would say, about me joining. But you said that it's okay if I don't understand anything. Is fun anyway. So I said okay, then I'm joining.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's not true that you don't understand anything, but I mean, the fact is that I of course invited you because I know you have a background, right, in the field. And at the same time, I know you're not working on this field right now, but I still think that's a good point. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you, and I have a list, of let's say other people that I want to invite to the next episodes. And the thing is that I really believe that um, different people working in different fields or having completely different backgrounds, right? Even technical and not technical, skilled persons in the same field will have, totally different opinions and point of views, which are totally what I'm looking for in the conversation, right? And I believe it could be helpful also for the people, watching the podcast itself. So yeah, I was looking forward to it, and finally we're here. Um, I just hope that you will enjoy this as much as I will do, because I'm sure I will. Okay,
I I will. I'm pretty sure I will.
great. Okay, so I think we can get started. This is the idea. I'm gonna share my screen with the first of the news we collected, from the last week. Before I do that, just a little request that I'm going to repeat a couple of times tonight. If you're watching this either live, we are currently live on I think Twitch, YouTube, and LinkedIn. But I will also re-upload this video later on my YouTube channel. And if you just like just listening on the audio, you will also find it on Spotify and similar platforms. Um, if you're enjoying this and you just hope that there will be more, just let me know. Hitting that subscribe button or follow button or whatever you have in front of you, depending on the platform you are on. So thanks for that, and just let's get started. So where's my screen? Yep, this should be the one. Cool. So okay, this is the plan. I'm going to introduce very briefly the article itself. Later on, I'm gonna also share all the links to the single articles, because I believe if you're watching this, you probably want to deep dive a little more than what we did, just because you want your own opinion. So please do that when you'll get the link. By the way, here we're talking about Microsoft. Actually, we're not talking about Microsoft for a while in this podcast, which is a little strange. Basically, there was a very famous, let's say, conference held by Microsoft, the Microsoft Ignite. I hope that's spelled right. 2023, and of course, Microsoft announced a list of new technologies, products that is going to to push in the market. And there are a couple of those technologies that are particularly interesting for me, but for this podcast specifically. And I don't remember the names, but here there's the reason why I have my screen right here. The Azure AI speech text to speech avatar, which is pretty long one. Basically, it appears to be a technology which gives users the opportunity to create AI baked avatar, starting from just some photos of real people, right? So you basically upload your own, or some people that should grant you the let's say the possibility to do so, those photos, and the AI algorithm will basically animate it as it's actually a live video or streaming of the person. And you can also put a text that the avatar should actually say, so that another, of course, algorithm will interpret the text and actually produce a voice that will spell and basically say the speech. So this is the first part of the article, and this is the main the main news. I will say this is the event. This new technology that is not something new. We heard about it, at least overall in the industry, from a while, and so far we called it deepfake, and it was something bad until Microsoft, but also other companies decided to put like let's say legit version of the technology on the market. And I think that alone can be the start of the conversation. Like I mentioned deepfake. Hopefully everyone knows what I'm talking about, but it was just the way we called this same technology, like generating fake videos of real people saying something that they will not say, or they just didn't say it publicly, right? And it's kind of scary technology for a lot of reasons, or at least in my point of view. But I'd like to know what are your first thoughts, Marco?
On one side, I'm not surprised, right? From a pure
Okay.
technological point of view, Uh, we have seen solution for deep fakes all over the places, and
Hmm.
they were primarily used for bad purposes, right? For malicious purposes. So we we've seen many. I mean, I recently, I mean, not that recent anymore. It has been a year ago, but I remember the one from Sam Bank Freeman, SBF, the
Yeah.
one when FTX went bankrupt, right? They
Yeah, right.
created this deep fake with him saying, "Oh, no, don't worry, we are going bankrupt, but please click on this link, and if you're a customer, you get a refund." Guess what? They just emptied all the wallets of those people. um, but there were many others, right? So they can be used to just trick people into behaviors or action that they don't want to take. But in general, there is also a huge legit amount
Mm.
of use cases, right? Which are scaling advertisement, for instance, right? Imagine now a
Right.
single famous actor can just work on one advertisement at the time. If they just sign a contract where they provide a third party use of their images, and they can create their own advertisement, right? And they can get money from hundred or thousand of companies in parallel, right, at exactly the same time.
True.
So and then without anything, the other thing that is covered here in this article is chatbot.
Hmm.
That, I mean, nobody likes chatbot, right? I mean, no, they never have the answer you want. They just keep giving you pages you already saw, and so on and so forth. But now imagine with the chat GPT and generative AI becoming better and better, at some point they will become useful, right? And so at that point, if you put a face which is actually speaking to you in a natural way, everything will become more and more natural, right? And that's another way to actually scale customer support. So there are a lot of legitimate use case that can take advantage of this technical solution. Now, I think my fundamental question is which policies and tools will Microsoft put in place to avoid people abusing this
Absolutely.
solution, right? And there, I don't know. I believe they can try to find way to authenticate the user in a way that it's going to be complicated, right?
Yeah.
Because we will have fake IDs and so on and so forth. But you can go down that path if you really believe that you want to protect users, or maybe limit the amount of action they can do. They can't just ask for a random script. They have to be within certain boundaries on certain topics. Uh, but I think they will do. Of course, this is not the cool part that they want to announce. The cool
Of
part they
course.
want to announce is the technology, and then all the policies and everything else will come later. But they will have for sure something in place.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can break down the like what you said in two parts, like the advertisement part, where you really want to record a video of someone doing like advertisement for some products or something, in the um, the chatbot thing. Because I mean, for the chatbot thing, I see like an easy solution to the overall problem. You don't really have to have, I don't know, a famous actor as your chatbot, right? You can have like just a fake generated person potentially. And okay, there are still some issues if we deep dive on it, but it's much less, a problem, because you are not really faking another person. You are not putting words on that, on that person mouth, that maybe they don't really want to say, or you cannot abuse their own, face and everything. On the other aspect, I really think, you know no matter how I look at it, it's still an issue, because I understand, of course, Microsoft will find potentially multiple ways to authenticate and make sure that you have the specific permission from the person and everything. The thing is that at least we in this industry, we know that there will always be people willing to abuse of the technologies, no matter what it was intended for, right? And the fact that there's a a good technology from a company from like Microsoft, right, that potentially works properly. We like there's a video here, but we don't know exactly how good it is still, right? But eventually it will be good. I'm sure about it. And that's just a lot of people will jump on it for all of the reasons, not only the legitimate ones, right? And no matter what kind of measure Microsoft will take, there will always be a way to still abuse it in some
Yeah.
way.
Yes. Uh, and if you think about the actors here,
Mm-hmm.
you have then maybe the person who is just has some knowledge about very basic knowledge of computer science, who wants to do something bad,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's for just a joke or just maybe try to get some rewards, right? Monetary out of this, and those people, you might just block them by having good policies in place. Usually they easily give up, right? They said, oh, they want my ID. Oh, no, I'm not going to do this, right? I'm not saying that asking for an ID is the right solution, but oh, whatever is, they ask
It's a first
something,
step.
usually you just stop them in the beginning. And now you have the advanced users, those that, yes, will be able to provide a fake ID, and no matter which policy or tool you try to put in place, it just take longer for them, but eventually they will get to it. Those are not making use of deepfakes because Microsoft put this tool out there, right?
Correct.
Those are the bad actors that are using these kind of tools anyway, because Microsoft is just making access to this much easier for everyone.
Yeah.
But malicious actors have been using it for a while,
Yeah.
right?
That's
So
true.
while the fact that Microsoft put this out there will make it much easier for people, it's true. But look, we have to live now with the fact that deep fakes are a reality,
Mm-hmm.
and they are very realistic. And so we need now to think in a way that we can't trust those videos anymore, that we need to, as a service owner, we need to have protection in place. We can't pretend that this doesn't exist. Let me give you an example. Social platform,
Mm-hmm.
they have to think about how to identify uh, deep fake videos. There's, I mean, if they are not thinking about it, they're just doing it wrong, right? And it's not the fact that Microsoft published this
No,
that
no.
they will make their life harder. So yes, I mean, Microsoft is just following along and trying to get some business out of this, but I don't think that Microsoft publishing this tool will make it much worse in
Mm-hmm.
terms of malicious uses of deepfakes.
So uh, especially on this format, I try to be the devil's advocate, right? Because
Yeah,
I have to put some
you have to
conversation
disagree.
there. But I actually agree with what you said, and the point is that any technology, and I said this actually multiple times already, but every technology is just a tool, right? And as any kind of tool, even in the physical world, right, can be used legitimately or maliciously. So of course we cannot really stop progress and technology development, because a tool can also be used maliciously. Now the interesting thing for me is that this time, as you said, malicious actors were using this kind of technology for a while now. It's not a new thing. It kind of feels the opposite. It kind of feels like a tool that was I mean, most of the time used in a malicious way. Now there's a company which is pushing for a legit, usage of a malicious tool. I mean, I don't think it really started as a malicious tool, because most of the time, of course, you have just general research, right? And you start to see applications only after. But it is true that this technology is today known as deepfake, not as, your avatar, AI baked avatar or something. I think that's the interesting part. Like, if Microsoft, and I hope, Microsoft will find some good measures to, limit as much as possible, of course, the abuse of this technology from themselves. I think this is a very good point of reversing what we usually see for any other technology, right? There are also some malicious things that, they are still a tool and can also be used in a legit way. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, it's kind of, it's pretty interesting. Um, Taking something that malicious actors have been using and just reuse it for good reasons, or just for just legit reasons, say. Of course, it's to make money, right? But that's not bad, on its own or per se.
Yeah. And I think that as any risk, there is also an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think we will see companies trying to build solution to identify deepfakes, right? And that's a big opportunity. We will see multiple companies coming up with a solution. Uh, we had to face a similar problem with piracy,
Mm.
right? And to block people uploading movies on multiple platforms. Now, if you try to upload even just the wrong soundtrack, they will immediately block you right
Yeah.
after. And so there will be technologies that
I mean,
eventually
there
will
are
solve this problem.
technically there are already, in the sense that I've already read about,
Yeah,
tools and research about detecting, again, what we called deep fake
yeah,
before. And I'm sure, tomorrow there will be companies selling services to other, I think mostly B2B, B2B thing, right? Where
yeah.
companies will develop the software to sell to the big, platforms that need to face this kind of challenge, like of course, social media and similar, things.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point is that, of course, there's the never ending race between, building a better technology and building also a better technology to identify those fake images. And we will never know if there will be an end to that race, right? Because if we are reaching the perfect image, technically, if we do that, it's perfect, then you cannot really identify it.
That's not real.
Yeah. On the other side, the only other thing that I have in my mind is not specified in the article, and I'm not sure if the technology by Microsoft will grant something like this. But what if you could use this kind of avatar as how do they call them, like filters, like those used on social media and now on chat applications, to like replace live your face with something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if you could, and I know there were like some attempts to do this, but what if Microsoft will eventually grant the possibility on Teams, right, to just change your live during a meeting, your face with someone else's face that you had just some images from that person. That will be, very scary. I don't see why, you should do something like this. You should sell something like this.
Yeah, there might be. I think there are plenty of use cases. What
Really?
I give people a good technology, and they will find how to use it in a good or malicious way. But I think this is a very strong new technology, and we will see.
Okay. Anyway, you don't see like I feel you don't see a problem. I feel you are pretty confident that this is still a very good thing no matter what.
No,
I mean
I mean,
that's okay, right?
I
It's
was
still
surprised years ago when I saw the first attack based on this, and I
okay.
said, "Oh crap, we are
Right.
right." And I'm not finishing the sentence. You can put words there, and I said, "But now I'm used to the fact that we have to cope with that,
Yeah.
and if we rely on any way to videos to authenticate people, or if we generate any trust based on what I'm watching, then I'm just doing wrong, right?" And so I'm not surprised that Microsoft is
Okay.
launching this. um I think there is a market opportunity, and market and Azure is trying to get more of the cloud market, so I think it's reasonable
Makes
from a
sense.
business point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, pretty interesting. We actually could have a couple of other points to talk about on this article, but think we already reached our time to dedicate to this news specifically. So I will move to the next one. Again, very quickly before we move on, if you're enjoying this either live or the recording version, please consider subscribing or sharing this with some friends who could be interested as well. Because as many feedbacks I get, as many other episodes I will do, and I will invite other cool people, and possibly one day Marco too, if he will accept, of course. That's it. We have another news here, and this is actually, I think all of the news tonight are pretty interesting. They are pretty, let's say, unique. They are not very common news, all of them, but this is another interesting one. um, so this is on the, let's say, intersection between the cybersecurity and the crypto world. And I know you, Marco, have been working for um, like a company from the crypto world for some time. So could be interesting to know your opinion. So this news talk about a recent campaign where some threat actors have been creating, or let's say impersonating, some um, well-known companies on the uh, blockchain monitoring, I would say, business. So all of those companies which are trying to identify suspicious movements of cryptocurrency most of the time in the most famous blockchains, and try to detect scams and try to make some analysis out of this data. And so creating some accounts on Twitter impersonating some of those companies, then basically posting some tweets where they were talking about some alleged um, like data breaches or vulnerabilities on some of those blockchains, and urging people to click on a link in order to fix the problem or prevent the problem that eventually would have been losing their own cryptocurrency on their wallets, right? Of course, if you will then end up clicking on the link, they were going to actually steal your cryptocurrency. And eventually, I think there was some analysis on the article itself that, yeah, they were saying at the time they wrote the article, more than $300,000 of dollars were already stolen. So of course it was working. um, so again, nothing really new. Of course, this is a phishing, some kind of phishing attack, some kind of social engineering attack. And of course, once again, this is related to cryptocurrencies because uh, a lot of people have, I think, have been accumulating a lot of money in in cryptocurrencies, and it's just so interesting, let's say, for malicious actors to target those. And I just think this is once again a very easy way to compromise the target's wallets. And once again, I think it is affecting the crypto, how do you call it, reputation in general, like how secure it is, how it's safe to actually have some cryptocurrencies, especially if you have a lot of money on it, and on the awareness of the people who are owning it. I don't know if it makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I think. So I'm surprised they only got $300,000. It sounds like they didn't have a lot of success considering the
Yeah, that's
the large
true.
wallets that are actually sitting around. But I mean, I think that was. mm, I mean, it was pretty. I didn't look into how they actually moved the money. Most
Mhm.
probably they use some smart contract. I didn't look into the detail,
Yeah.
but from a user perspective, yes, this is just um, social engineering, and they just posted this. Click on a link. Rule number one: never click on a link when they tell you click on this link. But people are still clicking, right? And so yeah, I mean, the fact that people keep the crypto online makes everything easier, right? In a banking system, it would be a little bit more complex to steal money from a bank account with just a single click.
Okay.
And so that's why people were targeting crypto owners in this case. Um,
I mean,
I,
someone could argue that even if you own normal money on a normal bank account, you still can be target of a phishing attack, right? And they
yeah,
can
but
still steal your credentials and get to your online banking and steal some of your money.
yeah,
Um,
but with second factor authentication that now is almost everywhere, is a little bit more difficult. It's not that it's
yeah,
impossible.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
of course possible, but it's not a single click attack.
Mhm.
Here it looks like that was a single click.
Yeah, I mean, what they specified in the article was that so the user had to click on the link and then actually grant access to their wallet. Okay, so I what I interpret this is they actually put some credentials right
Mm.
to their own wallets in order to then uh, you know permit them to steal their money, right? So it's not exactly a one click thing. Still, it's of course very very simple. um
Yeah,
so
I
I
mean,
mean,
and no, sorry.
no, no,
The other thing is that it makes much more easy to hide your traces in the crypto world,
of
right?
course.
And so it's much easier for these people to just um, wash this money and
Yeah.
get maybe a part of them somewhere where it's almost impossible to find them. So I understand why it's still very, and also the sophistication in protections that are in place today in the crypto world is not at par with the standard financial services. I hope and I believe things will improve, but yes, it's still early for crypto.
I have like mixed opinions on this. Like, of course, there's there's always a way to improve everything, right? We can always push, the threshold, and to make it more difficult for threat actors to uh, you know uh, basically achieve their goals. uh, and of course, the crypto world specifically has a lot to do on this topic, just because of course they are a big target, like the biggest changes, or just the wallets themselves. It's mostly software or hardware, still something that can be affected by vulnerabilities and attacks, and so on and so forth. At the same time, what we see here is the oldest way, to lure someone into just give the keys to your own house to someone. It's still phishing, it's still social engineering. This is the oldest trick ever, right? uh, and again, we said this multiple times in the previous episodes, but um, it's probably the oldest thing. At the same time, it will be always the most effective one, just because it's targeting the person and not the technology, right? And that people cannot just be updated with a with a new version, with a new patch for the vulnerability. So uh, again, I'm not sure if this is more on the crypto industry in general. It's more on, okay, you as a person want to have some money in cryptocurrency for whatever reason. People do it for investment. People do it for just because they believe this is the future, or any other thing, right? The point is, you are putting more and more yourself into the digital world. You are converting your money in digital currency, and that means that you have, in my opinion, to be more aware than usual on the threats that are out there, right? So it's especially in a non-centralized world, or mostly, I would say, or at least ideally, that was the idea, I believe, when all the crypto thing started. You are responsible for yourself and your assets, so you are accountable, you are responsible for it, and only you can really protect at the very end your own assets. So this is the very oldest thing. At the same time, I always say that everyone can fall for it, everyone can fall for phishing. I'm the first one to say that I work in the cybersecurity. Still, I'm a human, and can be fooled and tricked, especially if I'm not in the right mood, or I'm tired, and I'm thinking about something else. And this was actually a pretty tricky one if you think about it, right? Maybe you are as a crypto enthusiast, maybe you are following these pages on, or these accounts on Twitter, to be notified about threats, right? Because these are also companies which tweet about scams and everything, and you build your trust on those companies, and now those trackers are just exploiting your trust on those companies. And maybe you are scrolling, your social media very very quickly. You don't really go and read exactly what's the handle, and understand and remember that, okay, this was different the last time I looked at it. And you just worried about all of your money, and then that's the why you click on it, right? I think that there's a lot to think about it, at least again for the people who really owns a lot of money in those wallets, right? You have to be extra careful, and even those trusted sources. Still, never click on that link, no matter who is sending that to you. And tomorrow, we just spoke about deepfake things. So tomorrow, even if you see a face you trust, still, triple check before you do anything, right? That will always be the best way for threat actors to achieve their goals, no matter what. Okay, I spoke too much on this. um,
No, but
yeah,
I
again,
think it's right. I think the crypto has been used or has been abused in a sense that the technology has been used as an easy way to move money around because they're digital money, so it's much easier. But yes, the attack itself is not different from other phishing attacks.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true. And we definitely had a lot of these similar, attacks in other episodes. So we definitely know about these things, and still those keep to be in the news, right? That's what blows my mind completely, because this is the thing that if you talk with any a person, especially from the security industry, oh yeah, this is nothing really advanced. There is no much technology behind it. It's not that that skilled the person that is doing this. Maybe you think about this. Maybe it's the complete opposite, in my opinion. Anyway, the thing is that they know and they use what is effective. There's everything they need to know. If it is effective, that's what they're going to use. They still keep stealing money with it, so why don't, right? Okay. Cool. So what else? Definitely. Yeah, again, once again, I will drop the link so you can have your own read on this. There are also some details on the specific addresses of where the money were being moved at that time. Of course, they can change. They can take new ones, but it could be interesting for some people interested in this, like blockchain tracking. Like a lot of people think about the Bitcoin, the blockchain, to be completely anonymous, but that's actually true. But still, it doesn't mean that you don't know where the money is. You just don't know who's the person behind that specific wallet, that specific address. But you can definitely track a lot more than what you can actually do with the current money systems or
Mm.
networks. No, you don't
I
think
mean,
so?
there is more transparency, but
Yeah,
there are
it's
also
more open.
solution. There are more transparency, but there is which is opening an issue in terms of privacy. But
Yeah.
but there are also solution like, I mean, now is not online anymore, but Tornado Cash, right? Where you can actually, those are mixer, so you can actually throw money in with a specific address, and then you lose track. You don't know on which address the money are going out. I'm
Okay.
oversimplifying, right? But because it's based on pseudonymous IDs, then
Mhm.
once you lose track, money are gone.
Sure. Sure.
So it's while um, normal fiat currency and the fiat system is supposed to be attached not to pseudonymous but to real identities. Now you can of course create a fake identity, but that's more advanced than
Yeah.
just create
I
and
mean, it's
use.
more regulated. It's definitely older and more mature as a
Yeah.
system, in general. So, yeah, again, probably pros and cons, but yeah, you cannot say it's not still a new environment, new technology, and everything. And there's a lot that can be still built and developed. Okay. If you agree, I think that's a wrap also for this news right here. We are half in our path tonight still. So and you mentioned something related to privacy, which is exactly the topic of the next news right here. Again, I you know took this piece of news here also because you and in your background you were heavily involved in privacy related project and topics at some point. So again, really curious to see your opinions on this. We are talking, and again, this is not new. This is something that definitely we have seen multiple times, or else Meta, or the company behind Facebook, if you don't know about it, being fined by yet another um, how do they say, data privacy regulators out there. Since the beginning of the GDPR, so the European overall regulation about data protection, privacy, and so on and so forth, the biggest, social media businesses like Meta, and maybe Meta in one of the first ones, are being affected by so many, let's say, attacks, in the sense of fines and um, you know um, limitations and so on and so forth for their the usage they do about their users' data, basically. How do they process them, what they do with them, and how, transparent they are about saying what they do with them. And apparently, the Norwegian data regulator is particularly, interested in making things very difficult for Meta um, in Europe. Um, so the thing is that I think, again, there are different points here, but the most interesting thing for me is that, if you don't know, and I actually didn't know because I'm not really a big Facebook user, Facebook actually just released a new subscription model where, instead of um, uh, basically paying the service with your data, so, until now we know social media platforms are not really, um, you don't pay to use them, you just, subscribe and start to use them. But basically what they are doing is taking and collecting and tracking your data, so they can mostly sell them for advertisement mostly. And now, because of regulations, because of things like the GDPR, they are actually offering, okay, you don't want advertisement, you don't want us to sell your data for advertisement, we will not, if you just pay, a monthly fee for using the platform, which is interesting. I was reading like a meme the other day where someone captured an old message from Facebook that was saying, Facebook will we will always be free no matter what, to um, just to tell users to be aware of scams, to pay something or not. But apparently it was not really true. So it's interesting, the new model itself. And it's interesting that this Norway data regulator is saying that it's some sort of, let's say, scam, in their opinion, because, okay, maybe they are not going to propose you advertisement using your data, but it doesn't mean they're stopping collecting your data. So that means that, and again, of course, if that's confirmed, if that's true and everything, it means that you are starting to pay and still gift your own data to the company to do something else. Maybe not specifically advertisement, but maybe to just keep you interested in the platform, to propose you the posts and the people that are more interesting for you. And maybe you're okay with it. Maybe you're not, because you are really, into, owning and be the solely owner of your data. So I think there's a lot of, talk and discussion about the privacy related aspect of this, and how everyone really, how do you say, perceive it. Maybe there are some people who really don't care about it. Okay, they can have my data. I just want to use the service. So what's the matter? What's the problem with it? Maybe you will never use the social media because of this. So again, it's very complicated uh, topic once again. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. It's a complicated topic. I just wanted to make, sorry for nitpicking. You said
No,
multiple
please.
time, Facebook is or Meta is selling your data to advertiser. That might be a little bit an overstatement in a
Okay.
sense that I'm pretty sure they don't sell the. I'm not on Facebook. I
Okay.
closed my account something like 10 years ago because I care about my privacy. Um, but I'm pretty sure they don't, because that will go against many regulations in Europe, in the United States, and almost in any part of the world. Is Regulators are just going towards user data is owned by the user, so a third party platform cannot sell the data. They can use it. Now the tricky point is, use it for advertisement means use it as a compensation for the service they provide to the user,
Hmm.
which you could say, okay, I'm paying with my data. It's not that they are selling your data;
Yeah,
they
right.
are just um, the the things that are most interesting for advertisers is targeting.
Hmm.
They want to show their advertisement to the people that are most willing to buy it, right? And so targeting, knowing very well the profile, more precise is the profile of the individual, higher are the chances that they can actually get a return out of their
Right.
investment. Now, I don't need to know that that profile is Giorgio. I need to
Sure.
know that the user with a profile in line with my requirements is being targeted with my advertisement, right? So it's not that I get access to your data. I don't. I know that the user in line with my requirements will serve this advertisement. And of course then there is the click or not, and then it follows, right? um, the tricky part here, and we're getting a little bit into how the ads business work, is of course, uh, more the richer is the profile, the better. So what a lot of companies are trying to do is collecting signals or information from multiple platforms, storing that into cookies. So you end up with a cookie on your uh, computer that is a way more complete of everything you have done and all the information about you that you would like to, right? So of course people are trying to circumvent this limitation in the data they get access
Right.
um, to get a richer profile. But to this specific point, I think the challenge here is understanding where where we draw the line between data used for company benefits versus used for the user's benefits. Because to some extent, uh, and again, I'm not a Facebook user, but I might argue that if they suggest me friends that are people I know, that for me is value, right? It's value because, oh yes, that person was my, I don't know, first school classmate. Oh, it's great.
Right.
Let's connect, right? There's value. Now, to be able to suggest the right people, they have to know a lot of information about me, right? Now, to this extent, you could argue that this use of the user data is in the user interest. So the user is getting advantages from the fact that the platform get access to the data.
I want to stop you right here for a very good reason. First of all, I want to thank you because I keep saying that in this format, I like to, explain things that most of people in this industry think that they should be public knowledge, but I actually oversimplify something that you explained very well. So thank you so much. Like everyone keeps saying, they sell data, and you're right. It's not technically true. They're not really selling. They're selling maybe the data about the data, right? They
Yeah.
are analyzing your data, and the result of those analysis is then offered as a service to their customers.
Yeah.
Um,
I know you didn't mean that, but I know that some people that are less tech savvy believe that those platforms are
right?
selling their data, right? So I wanted just to take the opportunity
No, no,
to remind everyone that I'm not affiliated by any mean with Meta. I've never worked for Meta, but I'm pretty convinced, and I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty convinced that they are not doing it.
no.
That
I
they
mean,
just it's not in their interest at the end
exactly,
to
exactly.
sell
I
them.
agree with you because actually they have some value in owning the data from their users and not selling to other people because
Yeah,
otherwise they don't have that the differentiator right in the
yeah,
market. They
yeah,
can sell their services to other businesses because they own and don't sell the data. But it's just something that everyone says, and if you don't really know how it works behind, you really just believe, okay, they are just taking and selling the data as it is, like they are selling my name, surname, and the age, or anything. There's not really value in that. Like if you don't really process the data and then take some conclusions out of the data. So thanks for that. On the other thing is that you said before, there could be some value in the fact that they are processing my data to give me back something, right? That could be proposing me content, or and or contacts that are in line with my interest, right? Maybe, I don't know, I like soccer or football or whatever, and of course the platform learns it from my behavior, and then just keep proposing me other football related stuff. And of course I will be happy for it, because I'm using the platform for that reason, and the platform keep giving me the content I want. So technically there's value in that. At the same time, I also think, and this could be let's say not so common opinion, let's say, but if you want to buy something, let's say you are looking for a specific product, or you're thinking of changing your phone in some time or something, or you are I don't know, reconstructing home and you need some furnitures, and the platform learns that and propose you some advertisement for that thing that you actually were searching for, or you didn't know that it was actually there, but Facebook make you, or Facebook, or whatever, makes you discover it, right? I think it's the same kind of reasoning. There's still value if you were really interested in buying the product before, of course, right?
Yeah, but I think here is the ultimate reason.
Okay.
There is value, but who is getting the most value out of you getting an ads that is very well targeted? Is the company serving the ads,
Right.
right? So to me, it's about who has the most value into it. I mean, there are a lot of discussion about, oh, let us collect all your data. You will get many people's. I mean, cookies. Cookies is a perfect example.
Mhm.
Let us store cookies on your device so you get better ads.
So you get a better
You
experience.
get
Let's
better.
put it
No,
that
no, you
way.
get better advertisements, right? You get ads that you care about. Really? I never look at the ads on the page. So why should I give you my data to get better, to get something that I never look at better, right?
Right.
There is no. It's obvious that they're trying to convince me personally to give to grant them access to the data. But here's the point: the pillars here are they need my consent. They, if they
Sure.
are operating in the right way, they need my consent, and they have to explain it in a way that I can understand it. Don't
This is
give
this
me.
is under, let's say, GDPR specifically, or
It
similar
is, but
regulations to.
it's in general it's standard in many other
I mean,
regulation. GDPR
most
is one of the
US
stricter.
probably still not, or I
US, there
know.
is something in California.
Yeah,
California has one regulation about that. South America is adopting one. In Asia, there are a couple of countries that already have
India,
it, and it's
India,
growing.
or also, yeah,
I mean,
definitely now. I will say that for most of the countries out there have something similar to GDPR, but yeah, it's
it's growing.
something still relatively new, in my opinion, right?
It is. It is. But what you when you are building a product,
Hmm.
you should
Today.
let people understand what
Hmm.
they are, their data is used for, and then give them control over the data you collect. Ideally, the control should be as granular as possible, right? Ideally, I want to tell Facebook, remove this information about me, restructure my house, but keep this information about me liking pizza,
Right.
right? Yes, I now, of course, that I'm describing not the legal requirement. I'm describing the ideal user experience from a user perspective. Now there are also technical limitations, and so it's very, very difficult to just come up with the perfect product. But going back to this article and this news, I think that the DR is from Norway, right? Is
Yeah.
the privacy watchdog from Norway,
Mhm.
is picking up a battle against Meta and trying to. I don't think the the request of not collecting any data. I mean, the entire Facebook Meta platform, right? Also Instagram will become useless if they collect no data. Because what does it mean to collect no data? Oh, they will not be allowed to store my post. How do they collect no data about me? Right? I can't upload my pictures. What is the point of the no data, right? If you take it to an extreme, they will become completely useless, right? So there is a limit to the to the amount of information you can collect, and if it's too small, it's just become useless for the platform.
Yeah, at some point, I
Uh,
think it doesn't make sense to use the platform
to
anymore.
use the, I
Like,
mean, the experience is absolutely terrible. So, um, but that said, I mean, drawing the line between data used for company benefits and data for user benefits is a very complex topic.
I actually never thought exactly at that point, right? So the balance between who get the most value out of it, and it's something that I don't have an opinion right now, and I just need to process this. So just thanks for the input. On the other hand, I agree with you with the Norway regulator that, again, I will drop the link. You need to make your own opinion, but I think especially this article really makes me think that they are specifically against Meta. They also say that they don't want to do similar battles with against other companies, just with Meta, right? And they did already some other legal battles before. They are going to do some new ones. So I think there's it's a little biased in some way, in my opinion. But still, the most interesting thing is like thought for me at least, it's still this thing that, okay, let's say that now you can opt out from the advertisement thing, right? You're not, let's say you said yourself that you don't want advertisement, right? You're not interested in it, so you don't want to give out your data to get any advertisement, not better advertisement, but just any of it. And apparently this new subscription they are proposing right now, it's something like that, right? You can still use the platform, you will get no advertisement at all, but here's the deal: you have to pay a monthly fee. Now, I myself could argue that I don't like social media that much that I will pay for it. But again, this is my own opinion. For me, there's not enough value to pay money out of it, not yet data. And still, for me, it's true that it's not a solution to the privacy problem, right? If you are concerned about your data, and not only on the advertisement thing, it's true that they still have and process your data for a lot of reasons that maybe make or do not make sense. Depends on your I think your own opinions and just the sensibility on the topic, in my point of view. um, but if the thing is, okay, now if you pay for it, your privacy or your data or your identity is safe because you are paying actual money, that's just not true. And if that's the way they are selling it, because of course they have to sell it, it's a product, it's a business, so you have to sell it, but that is intrinsically false, right? You are starting to pay money and you're still giving the same, I think, amount of data you were giving out just before when it was free. Don't you agree?
But I think that here the value proposition is not that they don't collect. The value proposition is you don't get ads. It's like YouTube ads free. Or now Netflix is going the other way around. It's telling people, do you want to pay less?
Right.
We give you ads, right? You pay parts, we compensate with ads, right? So it's not that they don't collect data. They collect the exact same data, but they will not use it for that specific uses. They will not use it for advertisement. That's the deal. And as a result, is not only that they will not share any potentially aggregated data about you because they can't share your data directly with advertiser. They will not share any potential aggregated data because you're not part of the pool of target users anymore. That's what you get in terms of privacy, and in terms of user experience, you don't get the advertisement. So you get, I don't know how the experience is, you get an ads-free version of Facebook. That's what the value proposition should be.
Yeah. I mean, it's completely true, but I wonder whether the common people, like most of the people out there using social medias, get it in this way, or it's just something. Okay, Meta was fined at some point by the data privacy guys, and now you can pay for it and you get no advertisement, so your data are safe. I feel that some people could take that, and because this is a consequence of previous attacks from data regulators about how they were processing data for advertisement. But the solution is just not what most people think, at least if they don't really read about it and inform
But let
themselves.
me be very honest.
Yeah, please.
Um, I also want to get free food, but free
Right.
food doesn't exist,
Right.
right? You have to pay one way or the other. And now you can decide that you want to pay with your money or you want to pay in other ways. And so people have also to understand that if they don't want to share data with Facebook, stop using Facebook. If and I did it, but is if you want to use it, then you can't expect to use it for free,
Right.
right? In one way or the other, the platform has to at least compensate for the cost and make some revenues on top,
Hmm.
right? So is that's reality. Otherwise, Facebook will just stop operating. Facebook said, okay, if we can't make people pay, we have to stop any data collection, and we're not allowed to serve ads. We just stop operations in Europe. Sorry, right? Because at the end, they can't just do this as a no profit.
Of course. Okay. Again, I will have a couple of other lines to put in there, but again, we have another news to cover. So I guess that's it for this. And yeah, again, it's actually true for most of the news I collect and I talk about in this format. Especially when the conversation is good, you always want to talk a little bit more. But the time is limited, so we need to jump on the next thing. Um, so one last time, if you're watching this, please consider following, subscribing, sharing, just to let me know that you are enjoying this, and I should do more. So final news for today, which doesn't mean it's not actually interesting. Probably it's the most cybersecurity wise, I will say, especially if you're into threat intelligence or stuff like that, because we are talking about analysis about a specific threat group. By the way, very nice article by, I think, by Flair. It's yeah, specified somewhere. Here it is. So good one here. the point was that they were tracking and analyzing this new group called they call AlphaLock. I'm not sure if they call it or they call themselves AlphaLock. I didn't do enough research. Sorry for that. You can do
Yeah,
it on your own,
I think they
by the way.
call themselves because there is a picture.
Is
You
it
go down, there is
specified
a
in the
picture with
pictures?
six
Yeah, you're right.
pictures, and there
You're
is
right.
Alpha Lock written there. So I think it's
You're absolutely right. So they call themselves so, which is pretty convenient. Like you have this issue in threat intelligence research where different organizations call the same group or what they think is the same group with different names. So it's most of the time a mess. If you have themselves calling them something, I think it's pretty convenient for the industry. Um, thanks Fabio from the chat, by the way, remembering that there are some shorts and reels out there that I make out of the videos when I have time sometime, and if you want it, you search it. Thanks Fabio, by the way. So AlphaLock, yet another threat group. We had I don't know how many of them. I'm not really into this specific aspect of cybersecurity, but I know for sure we have a lot of different, tracked threat groups out there. But this is an interesting one because apparently they are trying kind of a new business model in the cyber criminal or cybercrime environment. So we have told multiple times in this podcast that I really like to push this kind of conversation. The fact that cybercrime or just threat groups in general out there, they are building complete businesses on any aspect, right? They are just maybe not really following the overall regulations and um, you know lines that legit companies have to do, like Facebook before with the regulation and everything. But nowadays they really, their goal is to make money, and to make money they have to think like a business, think and operate as a business in in any aspect, right? They are structured as a business. They are doing marketing. They are doing they are structuring the company with the multiple divisions and units and so on and so forth, right? And in the recent years, the biggest business model have been the ransomware business model, where a group developed the ransomware itself, so the malware which encrypts data and asks for a ransom. Someone else maybe it's selling access to the networks where you can deploy the ransomware, and so on and so forth. You have very specialized groups that actually work as multiple different companies on the same pipeline, right? You have a complete supply chain made up of multiple groups that act as multiple businesses, right? So this is nowadays the most common, let's say, environment that you can find out there. And now this new group out there, AlphaLock, actually made something slightly different, where they are doing the complete pipeline themselves, right? And I think it's pretty interesting. The first thing, they have like this two-step, let's say, business. I think you can call it a marketplace. I think that's a definition of a marketplace actually. They are on one way selling a penetration testing course, like you can find probably, I don't know how many hundreds out there today. So you want to learn what they call penetration testing. So of course, the let's say the art of finding vulnerabilities in software, so you can break things, and you can abuse software to make to force the software to do something that it was not supposed to do, basically, so that eventually you can test the software and demonstrate how you can compromise it, how you can abuse it, and what could be the potential consequences, so that, you know, in the legitimate business, companies can patch the vulnerability, can fix the vulnerability, so it doesn't really happen when the real threat actors try to exploit the same thing. On the, you know, this group actually, it's selling or advertising it as normal, you know, a normal penetration testing course, but at the same time, the people they are training, they are also basically hiring them once they train them, uh, because they have, you know, they're selling the course on Telegram apparently, or they were until now. On the other way, on you know, basically the dark web, or on a forum on the dark web, they also put platform where to sell penetration testing services, where basically anyone could ask penetration testing on any other company. So it's not exactly what you do and what you get in the legit, you know, business. Usually it's the company itself that asks to, you know, for the test services, not that, you know, I go and ask for, I don't know, please let's test a little more Microsoft today because just I want to do that. So there is this you know, weird but also in some way interesting way of doing business, where they sell on users interested in learning some new skills, and on the other hand, they are also selling to people interested in doing some basically damages or compromised networks and organizations with the very skills they help people to build, right? um, so there's, again, I have a lot of thoughts. I know this is a little bit more on you know, proper cybersecurity stuff, but there's also a lot of business stuff behind it that I think a lot of people in the industry needs to be aware of, needs to be to understand, to know what is on the other side, right? Because we're basically um, on two sides of the same coin, right? We are trying to protect companies. On the other side, there are organizations which are trying to compromise companies, and they are doing it in always in new ways that we need to understand and to be aware of, right? So I guess I think it's interesting, but of course I want also your opinion on you know, on the article.
So when I read this, if you take aside for a second the fact that these people are building a hacking group, right? And remove from this article any reference to that, what they are doing is just building a normal business in a very good and well structured way. So what they're doing is talent acquisition.
Hmm.
They try to get the best people, train them, give them incentives to retain the talents. So they don't want these people to get into the company, get the knowledge, and leave. So they retain them. And then what they're doing is they organize them through what I would call business unit, giving them clear mission, roles, and responsibilities. Right. So people who designed this have a pretty good understanding of how organizations operate or company operate at scale, understand how to make this work in an efficient way. And it's obvious that they aspire to become very big, because on the other side, it doesn't make sense to put all this structure in place and then have 10 people, right?
Right.
To do all this, you're aiming to hundreds of people, such that this will just scale. Otherwise, all the structure you put in place in terms of training, hiring, all the structure in different businesses doesn't make sense if you end up with 2 people in each, right? You need a lot of people. So that was the part that actually uh, surprised me the most. The very sophisticated organizational design that is behind this hacking group.
And so again, of course, this is interesting to me, and this is just once again another evidence that they do this in this manner, right? Because of course other cybercrime groups are still structured like a company, like a big company, possibly. And again, they also have different service providers between themselves, right? Or just the same customer could be customer of multiples of those groups. So again, this is interesting, but nothing new. On the other end, what's kind of new is uh, the product they are selling in some way. Not that no one is no one was selling the same kind of, you know, um, compromises a service. I don't know exactly how to call it. I think the article called it in some way at some point. But the fact that they're looking for a way to scale this kind of business model, right? I need more people, right, with the skills to do something like this, and I will be the, let's say, centralized platform who will advertise for those skills, who will sell for these skills, and who will probably also, I guess, manage the engagements, right? Like new customer arrives, pays for it, and I find the right person for that specific engagement, and I don't know, I facilitate the process behind. It's not. It's like moving from a freelancing job to an actual company with multiple people doing the same thing, but just on a scale, providing the same service to more customers and basically making more money out of it, right? So it's the level up of a simple, what most of the time we hear about the hacker, right? Or I will prefer a cyber criminal or something that is just being paid to compromise some organization. Now you have bigger phase, a bigger structure that is actually kind of hiding the actual people doing it, right? I think it will get even more difficult, probably in some point of views, to get to the exact people, because of course there are many more of them, just not one single person, and because the face of it is actually a platform made by someone that apparently knows, what they are doing, right? And it was actually very interesting. Again, please consider having a look at the article, because there are a lot of quotes from their Telegram channel with their own messages, and also the way they talk. It's very I don't know how to call it. It's like reading, I don't know, the meta account on socials, or some other pages, right? There's a social media management behind that, or that was my feeling
Yeah,
personally.
if I remember correctly, in one of those they were saying they were hiring a creator or
Yes.
social media manager. So they I mean, they are definitely structuring this beyond what I would expect from a small hacking group. So it's and also the brand.
Yeah.
They're really building on the brand, right? Which you can say if you're going just to do something like hacking companies, maybe you don't need the brand, right? But instead, because they really want to grow and attract, and brand is important.
Actually, this
Yeah.
is a good topic, because not only they don't usually need a brand, they want to kind of hide themselves. They don't want to really openly speak about them, right? Because they don't want, of course, um, to be catched by government agencies and so on and so forth. And this is a little uh, on the limit of this, because they are clearly building a brand. They even call themselves a name, right? And they are doing it. Most cybercrime stuff and activities and operations are mostly on the dark web, just because it's slightly more difficult to access and to track and everything. But the apparently the main phase of this group has been on Telegram. That technically is not dark web. Technically, it's just another social media platform, right? Okay, it's handled in a different way. There's a reason why they're using Telegram and not, I don't know, Facebook or Twitter or something. But still, it's an application everyone actually has on their phone. Okay, everyone can get very easily access to that Telegram group and get the advertisement about that course, and maybe you're interested, and actually has a pretty good price for the average of those kind of stuff, even the legit part of the world, right? So it's something very very easy, and they are pretty exposed in some way. They were so exposed that if I'm not wrong, at some point they had to like slow down a bit, because the in a message that is quote on the article, they are saying they kind of attracted too much attention to them, and they started receiving some attacks, like cyber attacks on their own platform. And the conclusion was that they were too exposed, too open on Telegram. Now they closed the group, and they declared that they are going to move to another social media platform that I actually don't know. I think it's called Matrix or something. So basically, something that is less new, or less known, or just less filled with the people from everywhere, right? So it's actually interesting how they are also balancing this exposure as a normal company, because they want people to know about them, and actually hiding themselves, of course.
Who knows? Maybe they will surprise us. They are just creating hype, and we will see them quoted on Nasdaq. They will be a public company traded on Nasdaq who is doing pen test.
I mean,
I'm joking, but the way they structured this might not make it too difficult for them to end
I
up in
mean,
that situation.
I don't think it's totally a joke, because we know, so it's not new in the industry that a lot of people that were doing you know uh, sketchy stuff, or just they were black hats before, right? They were someone was doing it for just making money out of it, without complying with any regulation, and then just moved because it's I think it's just more convenient. Today the industry is pretty cool. They pay good money, so why don't you do it legally, right? So there are a lot of people who, as a person, right, translated to the legit industry, and I don't see why something like this could not happen. Of course, it's a little more complicated, but
Mm.
if you we also have companies who sell spywares and malwares to government agencies, so that's most of the time considered legit, and it's not something that again, most of the time, and depending on opinions, police have to go against, right? um, so if you put the right structure, and at some point you do some rebranding, and you don't get your actual identities to be known, I think it's something that could technically be done, right? And tomorrow we will have another company with a new name, and we didn't know that just before it was them. If they have the right structure, and if they move to another country or so, um, definitely, I hope they will catch it before, but still, I think it's technically doable. I don't see a big problem with that. It's again, the marketplace thing, something that will work also in the normal business. There are specific agencies, and that are just doing pen testing and nothing else. right? You're just making the overall process more smooth and easy, also for customers that just have to buy the service from a platform, and you train the people on the other side. I'm wondering why the current training, security training industry is not doing something like that. It's pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, maybe they will do.
Yeah, maybe they can take some examples. Again, no suggestions here, right? But it's just interesting to think about it, and the consequences of something like this. Maybe it's just something that they are trying and will not have much success eventually, and still the ransomware um, model makes more sense, and that it's the reason why most of the other groups are doing that right now. And this will slowly disappear, or just not be very big. But it's something that I will personally have a close look at, because yeah, definitely something new compared to what we read mostly every day. I don't know you, that you are slightly outside the industry, but if you read security news, it's data breaches from the ransomwares, and the new ransomware sample that was collected. And I personally think most of the time that's a little of noise, because it's always the same kind of news. Just a new company being breached, just a new company that is paying the ransom, just a new malware with slightly new differences. I don't think there's a lot of value in that kind of news. Of course, if you just want to inform yourself. So yeah, okay, very cool. Again, I will share all of the links we spoke about tonight in the description of the video on YouTube. So if you are still interested if you still want to deep dive a little bit, you're free to do so. Actually, I encourage you to do so, and possibly to let us know something that we didn't cover, something that we didn't know, or something that I just said wrong, because I'm wrong. I can be wrong, and I do this because I want people to correct me. So please do that. And yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Unfortunately for me, Marker, maybe you were looking for it, but it's pretty late, so
No,
I can understand it.
thanks, Georgia. No. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the chat today. So thanks a lot for inviting me.
No, thanks to you for joining us. And again, yeah, thanks not only to you, but also the people that had watched this, or are willing to watch this in the next days. I still think that I'm learning a lot in the process. I'm reading a lot. I'm talking with the very cool people that know a lot more than me. So that's the best thing out of this. And if anyone else watching this can also learn something in the process, then it's even an added value on it. So it's been great. Thank you so much. I think we are definitely at the end for this episode. Let me know if you also uh, like the fact that we are inviting also people that are not exactly in the industry right now, so we can get a different point of views, different opinions, because I plan to do so, and I have some guests in the next episodes. So stay tuned, and have a good day, good night, depending on where you are. So yeah, see you the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.